All right, here we go. What is it, week 6 in the books? We are just cruising right now. Let me readjust this real quick. Okay, so here's where we're at in the standings. It is going to come down for the number 1 seed. I play Paul next week. See what happens there. That one's going to be exciting. Don't know how all this happened this week, but we gotta. I mean, we'll see how the games play out next week, but it is completely wide open. There's just absolutely no predicting what side of the bracket you're going to be on or who you're going to play or anything. This is just unreal. Yeah, man. Really, really good week. I think this week overall, the quality of gameplay was at its highest, like that it's been all season. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of want to hop right into it. I recorded this game, and I think I uploaded that already onto the channel. Really, just to showcase how I use like the calculator during the games, and for you guys to kind of see like the thought process of me thinking a couple turns in advance every week. Hopefully it's like pretty useful for you guys. I thought it was a pretty cool video. I was actually able to talk during it a lot more than I thought I would. I do really bad with live comm. I've been a lot better with it recently, but yeah, it's kind of hard for me to talk while I'm thinking about everything, especially when I have like so much stuff on my mind. But I'll just recap my game real quick. I played against Dodge this week. I'm probably not going to pause it at all. It's just going to let it run. Yeah, I was a little nervous about Aerodactyl and Rotom. Those were the two that I was a little concerned with on my team. I picked up Incineroar this week because they had a really good Chandelure matchup. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it's used for in regular singles. I ran Magic Guard on Clef because I have Volcanion here, which can basically deal with Belly Drum Azumarill, so I didn't have to use Unaware on Clefable in order to deal with that. And then Magic Guard's awesome because I get Toxic, and basically anytime Toxapex is in, I mean, it's not going to be able to do anything to Clefable, so I can just kind of Calm Mind in its face. I, at one point, could have just won the game if I stayed in with Clefable on the Scissor. However, I didn't want to risk it being either Choice Bandit or Life Orb Scissor. I'm pretty sure with the set that he was running... let me pause real quick. We're bringing the calc back. Oh wait, this is the random calculator. Clefable, Calm Mind. I'm pretty sure I was like max, and then that... So this was the calc I kept running, and you'll see that in the game, but Bullet Punch was doing 63 to 75 if he was adamant max attack with Life Orb. I know he wasn't Life Orb, he was actually Leftovers. Yeah, with me having Leftovers, still too high of a chance. And I had up on my other monitor during our game, like, Dodge's previous builds of a lot of his Pokemon. So I was expecting max HP, max attack on that Scissor, and that's actually what it ended up being. But I have a great switch in with Incineroar into Scissor anyway, so I just kind of had that in mind. And then, like, using my prep, I realized Scissor also gets Superpower, and he's ran that before. So I decided that I would... I guess I scared him out since he didn't have any speed investment. So I decided on the next time that he ends up going into Scissor on Clefable that I would go into Volcanion on the Superpower. That way, you know, I didn't have to eat that with Incineroar. And I decided to get a little chip here too. He's going to heal it up with Leftovers anyway. Looking at his team, I'm just waiting for a good opportunity to get Lele in. I think Lele is going to go really hard. He doesn't have any Dark type. And I just kind of need to get Entei out of the way, and Aerodactyl a little bit as well. because they're faster physical attackers. And right here, I talked about this during the match, but I said, I think I said that I could either stay in and get information, or I can switch out and then just kind of play it slower, because at that point, Volcanion could live extreme speed from Entei, which I decided was a little bit more valuable than just knowing whether or not Aerodactyl was adamant or Jolly. Well, it turns out it was Jolly, but it was setting up with Hone Claws, so if I stayed in and just Steam Eruptioned, I mean, the game probably would have been over right there. Like, Lele and Necrozma just kind of sweep. So, yeah, unfortunate I didn't do that. I was very close to, but as you can see, I thought about that for a while. My timer was going down pretty low. But I just decided to get a little chip with Clefable here to minimize how many moves he can use since he has Life Orb Recoil. And here, I literally said, if I die, I die. And, you know, it is what it is. It was either he was going to miss a Stone Edge, or he was going to take another 10% in Life Orb Recoil. And knowing he only had 1% health there, I just decided to roost. And I was thinking maybe he would Hone Claws again, and then I'd be in a bad position losing Mandibuzz. But overall, looking at my team still, like, I think Necrozma would have been able to handle everything pretty okay, especially after like an Autotomize. Yeah, I take this Diamond Storm and I'm like, oh my god, that did 37, and on the calc, like, you'd have to actually have a good amount of attack EV investment. So I realized that a +1 Photon Geyser in Psychic Terrain was going to be able to kill him. Right here, I stayed in, even though it was going to kill me, with a Flare Blitz, because at this point, I just needed a little bit of recoil damage on Entei for Earth Power to kill. And I don't really need Mandibuzz because I have Volcanion, and like Necrozma is going to be good as well, but obviously he doesn't have any Psychic answers here. This is going to get 2-hit KO'd by Psychic. He can't Bullet Punch me because of Psychic Terrain, so just get to knock that out. And at this point, I think I said, like, now I just have to choose which Pokemon I want to kind of get these last 2 kills. So I sack Mandibuzz here, which I was already trying to do originally, but then I just decided I'll go Volcanion. It's like the most guaranteed way. I mean, it didn't really matter. Like anything that would have taken a Flare Blitz would have made Entei die to recoil, and then I kill it with a Psychic type move afterwards, so. But overall, Dodge played really well. He definitely brought like one of his scarier matchups against me. I think Chandelure would have been really tough to play around as well. I wouldn't have been able to use Incineroar as much of a scissor answer. I would have had to go into Mandibuzz most of the time, which, you know, is fine and everything, but Mandibuzz getting chipped down, I can't really deal with Arrow in the future, so yeah, I Rotom, Arrow, and Scissor definitely gave me a hard time, but, you know, since I was live comming it, I was kind of taking my time with all my moves and talking through it out loud, so I feel like I did a pretty decent job with all that. But yeah, good game, Dodge. We'll go on to the next matchup. This was right after ours. It was Berg and Joe. I helped Berg build his team a little bit this week. I talked to Joe about his team a little bit as well. With Berg, our strat on paper was to get Moltres in and let Moltres cook. And then essentially anytime that Regieleki is on the field, go into Flygon. Those were kind of the 2 answers. Yeah, so he's running Dual Dance, Moltres with Agility and Nasty Plot. And I told him to get it in for free, meaning don't take an attack. He was messaging me on Discord during the game, and like after he did this, he was just like, I fucked up. Not that 14% was really going to matter, because after he takes the Thunderbolt here, he would have had, what, 26% health. I still think that dies the Ice Shard, but he did at least get to show off the nasty weakness policy Moltres Fiery Wrath, plus the Berserk boost. So he got a kill with it, which is pretty sick. Right here, Berg misplayed. This is like one of Berg's like little misplays in this match. Yeah, he should have just went into Corviknight 100 billion% of the time, or Rotom. Either one is totally fine, and can deal with Mamoswine. Corviknight's definitely your best play in this situation, or Victini. Going into Tenta is also, like, it's a mid-ground play where if you scalded, it's fine, but Berg went for the Sludge Bomb, unfortunately, and that kind of put him, like, pretty far behind. The poison's nice and everything, but scalding and then maybe getting a burn would have been a lot more important. So as you can see here, like, Corviknight, it's taking, like, no damage at all from that. And he can just, like, roost up right here. Thankfully only got hit 3 times. And I want to say he clicks roost again. That would have been, yeah, the correct play. There it is. Yep. Go Flygon, always the correct move here. And then, I mean, if you're looking at Joe's team, you can just click Earthquake on it at this point. But not after sitting in and taking an Ice Beam from Finny, so... yeah. I mean, going Corviknight here is fine and everything. It's just like you are going to get burnt eventually. I'm pretty sure he got like pretty bad like Scald luck with this. Like he didn't burn him for multiple turns, yeah. Yeah, Berg should have just been clicking Iron Head here. Yeah, and Scald's doing enough where he has to hit Iron Head. No, sorry. I was reading the chat there. Scald's doing enough here where like Berg can't really attack back, so he's getting all of his leftovers recovery back up. At some point, you know, maybe I don't know, but Joe's going to start going back and forth between Ice Beams and Scalds and everything, especially now that you're burnt. He doesn't have to fish for it. Try to predict an Ice Beam, get into Victini, force some pressure, keep Corviknight around for Metagross and Nihilego. But, yeah, unfortunately that crit right there means it's going to end up dying to the next Scald. And then Berg actually had an opportunity here to make this game super interesting. So he lives on 1 health with the Pano Chinese EV spread for Rotom. It's beautiful. It's like 252, 108, 108, and 50 something. It's so nice. Yeah, so here we go. Victini Bolt Strike knocks it out. Bolt, Para. And that's where it got spicy. But then I think Alecki just, yeah, Okos with T-Bolt after that, so it was really fun. But yeah, that's definitely the best Berg's played all year so far. So what, Ty, and you got him? Yeah, Ty, be careful. Just be careful. Just be careful. That's all I can say. Berg's kind of piecing it together right now. He's getting dangerous. All right, well, good game to both of them. Joe played really well as well. Don't want to take anything away from him at all. No, he played pretty much exactly how he needed to. All right, so Paul versus Matt. But once again, Paul, the prep lord, the prep god, he went through what Matt has brought every week. And Blaziken has came every week. Melodic has came every week, except for once it was Cloyster. Azelf has came like most of the time. Xurkitree has came most of the time. Scolipede has kind of been split in time with Drapion. Trying to think if there's anything else on this team that split time with. And then Ferrothorn has kind of been split in time with Klefki. So Paul had a really good idea of what Matt was bringing, and like Matt can kind of get away with bringing the same stuff every week because it has a really solid offensive foundation where he's always going to have pressure, even if you kind of try to counter team it. He has so many options. So let's see. Yeah, like one of the main things, like Suicune's a really good answer to Blaziken, and it's a pretty decent answer to Scolipede as well. However, Xurkitree is a complete counter to Suicune. Excadrill is a good answer to Xurkitree, but Excadrill can't do anything to Pharaoh. It dies to Blaziken, and then, it gets absolutely bodied by Melodic, and then it dies to Scolipede as well. So, like, there's a lot of back and forth kind of layers to all of this. I put Paul onto Calm Mind Suicune, and that's about the entire story of the game here. So, yeah, and I told him about Hex as well, since, like, he's been consistently bringing Flame Orb on Melodic. Hex would be just, like, a better option than Thunderbolt. Plus, you still get your stab, boosting on that for other Pokemon that you don't want to use Thunderbolt on anyway. Banded Azelf coming out again. Kind of surprising that he had it, considering how many ghost types Paul likes to bring, especially the Suicide Hotline Mimikyu. That's what that number is, if you were to call it. It's a Suicide Hotline. And what does Mimikyu do? It kills itself. So Matt's getting a little tilted at this point. Throwing away Melodic, he doesn't really have a great Darmanitan answer anymore. Like, Darmanitan, if it comes in, if it lives a hit from anything, it just gets a kill. So he got a little tilted here and didn't Swords Dance. I don't know if he was running Swords Dance on Scolipede. I can try to catch that real quick. Team Paste. Matt. Yeah, so he should have SD'd right there. Give him a little bit more pressure. An SD Rock Slide into Zapdos probably would have had a roll to kill. Paul lands his Hurricane, and now Matt's like really on his back foot. Once Suicune comes in here, I don't think it switches out for the rest of the game. Gets the Scald Burn right here, and I was really stupid in the Discord. I'm sure you saw all of my messages, but I was looking at the chat in this, or I was running a calc or something. And I was like, okay, well, like, he can PP stall with Substitute, and I think he was running Protect on it. Or Calm Mind, Scald, Ice Beam, maybe. You know what? We got the Team Paste. We can always reference it. Protect, Calm Mind, Scald. Yeah, so he just had to run Scald. So I kind of figured he was going to be PP stalling Power Whip here. But after the burn, the Power Whip doesn't even break the Substitute. It just, Suicune is so fat that half attack Ferrothorn still can't even break the Substitute with a 120 base power grass move. So as you can see here, Power Whip's just kind of losing PP as we go through all this. He only has 4 more effective Power Whips. Matt, like, completely got tilted though, and should have just went into Xurkitree immediately. Like, when he switched out of Blaziken, he should have just went Xurkitree and prevented any of this shenanigans from happening. It's kind of chasing your own tail, because then Excadrill is going to come in and wall Xurkitree and then just fire off some Earthquakes, and then you still have to go Ferrothorn, and this weekend can end up coming in and all that stuff. So, like, I don't think he was in a winning position at this point, but he didn't do himself any favors to get out of this situation where Suicune just ends up sweeping from here. So I'll just kind of speed through this. Suicune just boosts up and knocks him out. But yeah, Paul, once again, like, insane prep. Insane. I'm pretty nervous about our matchup this week. I gotta see if I need to pick something up or see if what I got on my team is gonna work or not. But I'm excited for it. Alright, so this is the only one I didn't get to catch all of it live. I was at the bar last night with Lynn and her parents. So I tune in around like turn 14 or whatever. But I put Tommy onto Assault Vest Swampert. And I think it's like specially defensive as well. The calc on that, it actually lives a Grass Knot from both Coco and Thundurus. If it's at 100% health, it can live both of those Grass Knots and then kill back with Mirror Coat. And talking strategy with Tommy this week, I was like, you know what? Volcarona is probably going to be a really good sweeper against him. Probably mostly if he didn't bring Grimmsnarl with like screens and everything. It is cool that he was running a eject button, at least for Tommy, that is, because with light clay, the screens being up longer would have been a little annoying, but we'll talk about it later in the game where the screen didn't actually end up mattering that much because Tommy ran a cool tech on Wheezing. But yeah, I was really hoping to see like a Mirror Coat come out from Swampert at some point in this game. Swampert was always going to be his check to Keldeo, just looking at this team. Like, I mean, Wheezing would be decent, but it doesn't really want to take prolonged water attacks. Tyranitar is going to get bodied by it. Volcarona, unless it's boosted, doesn't like it. Obstagoon gets destroyed by Secret Sword. Thundurus is faster and everything, but it doesn't want to be a switch in to it, right? So I'm going to pull up Ty's team real quick. Yeah, he was running Assault Vest Keldeo, which is really cool. So right here, he had the opportunity to go for the Mirror Coat. And what I was telling Tommy is like, Volcarona is going to sweep if you have rocks up. Well, he doesn't have rocks up, and he got a little greedy, so he went for the flip turn here to get Volcarona in. And like, Garchomp's just going to be too reliable of a switch in every time, even if he had the rocks up at that point. So he had to get a little more chip in before doing that, so the Mirror Coat would have been a really good play there. Huge confusion here. Wheezing actually was going to be a good answer to Kartana because he was running Babiri Berry on it, which, since he wasn't running Kartana, Tyler had this other steel type in Lucario, so Babiri Berry was essentially here for that. And, the confusion sucks, obviously. And I don't necessarily know if it was going to matter, because Wheezing was just going to be able to Pain Split later on Keldeo. And then it would have just killed with Flamethrower right here too, I'm pretty sure, after eating a Meteor Mash from the Babiri Berry. So, I mean, definitely frustrating getting hit with confusion. Probably a little tilting as well. But Thundurus is obviously a really good play into this. Grass Knot, I think, is going to knock Swampert out from that range. Gonna try to go for another Quiver Dance here, but gets the 10% para and then the 25% full paralysis. So pretty crazy turn right there. Kind of like a Berg's Victini with Bolt Strike. Especially defensive Tyranitar, always going to be a good check to Thundurus. I think it lives a Focus Blast too. Probably not after all that chip and everything, but knocks out with Rock Slide. Ty's running Physical Coco this week, which is really sick. Really sick. Along with the Grass Knot coverage too for Swampert. So it definitely would have lived both Grass Knots from these two. But yeah, Wheezing's like, I mean, you're looking at Ty's team, Wheezing's a problem. I guess Tyler here was just really trying to get rocks up. Which possibly could have mattered in the end game with Obstagoon if he ended up going for the Wild Charge, giving him a little bit of a chance to win the game there. But, maybe he was expecting the Fairy move as well, so he didn't want to go into Grim or Keldeo. So I guess that's a decent middle ground play, because Garchomp's not really doing a whole lot left in this game other than just getting rocks up. So there's that. He was running Levitate, so he couldn't Earthquake. Let's see. Yeah, Tommy had a really solid team this week. Really, really good counterplay into Tyler. The Strange Team confusion going crazy. And yeah, I didn't realize Wheezing was also faster than Grimmsnarl. But yeah, so he bypasses the light screen by going for Pain Split here, which is actually really cool, especially since it was Assault Vest Keldeo. Stream Steam was not going to do a whole lot. And being able to chip Keldeo down, wearing off the light screen since it wasn't Light Clay Grim, allows Thunderbolt to kill from that range. And then Tyler texted me this after the game. I'm also not really sure what exactly would happen here. I think Tyler would have won if he went for the Wild Charge and got the kill. So it was only like a 12% chance that it would kill from this range. But I want to say, even though it's a recoil move and he has Life Orb, I think Obstagoon dying first meant that Tyler would win. Tyler wasn't really feeling too confident about the recoil giving him the win, so he went for the U-turn crit here. Obviously, like, much lower odds. What is it, like 6% to crit or something like that? 6 times 16, that seems relatively correct. Yeah, something like that. Maybe it's like 6.5. So he went for the U-turn here, did not get the crit, and then died the Life Orb recoil, and that was it. What a nail biter. That game of the year. Easily. I'm saying it right now. Regular season game of the year. We have 1 week left. I don't think any other game is going to come down to something this close. That was so well played. Yeah, I don't even think like Tyler really made any misplays. There was a little bit of RNG and some hacks on both sides. Maybe running Light Clay on Grimsnarl would have ended up being a little more significant. Let's see what a Thunderous. It was like kind of mid attack, something around that range versus Keldeo. With Assault Vest, so that's just like +1. T-Bolt through Light Screen. Let's see, it does 29 to 35. And he was at 36. So it would have incentivized Tyler to go for Wild Charge more because the recoil would not have killed him at that point, because he would have taken less recoil from an already damaged Thunderous. So he probably would have just went for the Wild Charge and then still had the 12.5% chance to win there. Like I said, I don't necessarily know if there's anything Tyler could have done this week with this team comp. Maybe bringing Kartana to add a little bit more speed and a little more pressure, specifically for Tyranitar and Swampert, could have been cool. Also, another thing that's faster than Obstagoon. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what I probably would have done differently. I got to look at Ty's team a little bit more. I think Skarmory would have been a decent answer. But it wasn't like Tommy was running through him with Obstagoon or anything. So kind of tough to say there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really getting anything to pop in my mind. I think Tommy just brought a really solid team composition versus him that was going to be really difficult to play against regardless. So yeah, that was a super, super, super close game. Really, really fun to watch. Hope everybody kind of takes some notes from this game of like using defensive pivots and switching adequately. Tommy did a really good job with that. He wasn't scared to switch into some of his defensive answers for what he had for Tyler. I think if Tommy didn't go for the Quiver Dance with Volcarona early on and just killed Thunderous really quickly with Swampert, it would have, probably been a little less close, a little less of a nail biter. Plus, he would have preserved Swampert, maybe even get another Mirror Coat off onto Coco or something. Or maybe Mirror Coat into Keldeo. Either way, really fun to watch, and I'm really happy that everybody's playing at this level now. That was overall like the highest quality of games out of everybody so far this week. Just all the games were played very well. Super excited for the final week of the regular season. Just a couple things real quick. Free agency and the waiver wire are still open. Free agency's open until a couple hours before your last game this week, but once you make your moves this week and you play your game, there's no more waiver wire. I'm turning the form off so you can't even put any applications in to switch anything. Rosters are going to get locked, so once we play this last game, we are stuck with whatever we got through the playoffs. I don't know if we're going to have any sort of like tiebreakers or anything that we're going to have to deal with. Let's see. This is where we're at with the standings. Since we're not doing head-to-head or whatever, we're going off of kills. Let's see. We got Pano and Paul, so like one of us is going to win. That will clear this tie. Tyler plays Berg, so that's not going to change anything with that. Let's see. Chicago. That's MJC versus Dodge. Okay, they could end up having the same record. and then Tommy and Joe, that one will split. So let's see here. There's definitely going to be some ties still. Tyler has put himself in a great position with 11 kills with Coco. So unless like there's a massive circuitry sweep in MJC versus Dodge's game, which could definitely happen. Dodge is a little weak to electric, so I don't know. I could see circuitry kind of coming up a little bit here. But yeah, we'll kind of figure that out. We'll go off kills leaders, and then after that, we'll go into differential. And then, yeah, we'll be ready for the playoffs. This is what we're looking at right now. Be Paul versus Berg, Matt versus Joe, Tyler versus Tommy, and then myself versus Dodge in the playoffs. So I am so excited for that. And I talked to Joe a little bit about this. I think Tyler as well. Definitely planning on doing this again in the future. Maybe take a couple weeks of a break and everything. And then I'm going to work on like re-tiering a lot of stuff. I am going to probably do like a point-based draft system where everything's still going to have tiers and you have to draft a certain amount in each tier. But it might open up a little bit more like these banned Pokemon. I'll put a really high point value on them, so you end up having to pick up more lower point value Pokemon to round out your team. And I think I'm going to open it up a little bit more to a lot of the PU Pokemon that didn't end up making it onto this. I bumped a couple up into NU, took a couple into RU that have like weather setting, like Torkoal and Abomasnow and things like that. But I kind of want to open it up to a little bit wider of a range of Pokemon, and then we'll have another draft. Probably do 12 Pokemon again, maybe 11, just to make it a little easier for team prep every week. And kind of keep the same format with like free agency and, you know, one match a week and things like that. So I'll talk to you guys once we get a little closer to that. But if you really like don't want to play again in the future, just let me know. But as of right now, I kind of want to pick this back up maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks after the season ends. We still have a couple weeks going. Like we have this week still of regular season, and then we have 3 weeks of playoffs. So obviously, you know, if you lose in the first round of playoffs, you only have 2 weeks left of this, and then we'll have like a pretty decent break before the next season. I kind of want to keep it with singles for the next season as well. Maybe after another season or two of singles, we might expand into like VGC doubles, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you in the Discord. Peace.